Hi guys, this is Rose from Couture Cakes by Rose. I'm just gonna do a very quick video tutorial on one of the brooch molds, mainly to help out a friend. So if you guys will just come over here, I have here one of this big brooch mold that I have in my shop, and I have just a little ball of plain white fondant. You can also use gum paste. Now we're gonna take our mold and we're gonna take our ball of fondant and we're just going to insert that right in the middle, and we're gonna press down on it just like so. And by doing so, we ensure that all the cavities are filled out. Now as we press down, we're gonna start pushing the fondant or the gum paste out towards the outside cavity of our mold, ensuring that all those little cavities are filled. Now if you guys notice, I did not dust my mold cavity with cornstarch. I've never had to do that, so that's why I don't show that step in any of my videos. So now that I had adequately filled all the cavities with my fondant, now as I said, you can use gum paste too. I just like using fondant because it's cheaper. We're gonna put this lot in the freezer for about 5 minutes. Now, so while waiting for our other sugar brooch to firm up in the freezer, I have one right here that I had pre-made earlier. And if you guys just take a quick little look right there, we have those spots right there that kind of overspilled from the jeweled portion, and those does not belong in our brooch, so we're gonna take that off. Now you can avoid this when you filled your brooch molds if you just simply fill the cavity, but I intentionally overfilled the brooch cavity just so I can show you guys how to clean it up. So we're gonna take either your X-Acto knife, or sometimes I also use my little scissor. Sometimes I use my very small palette knife, or this little tool right here. So whichever comes in handy for you guys. So we're gonna use our X-Acto knife and we're gonna cut that overspilling fondant. And I actually, believe it or not, call this love handles because love handles spills out. So we're gonna go around and finish that. And when we are done, see how it's already looking a lot better. And I know there's still like those little spots right there, and that's easy to clean up. Take your little scribe tool and kind of just push that out of the way and clean it up like so. And you can also use your finger. See how it's already a lot better looking than those ones. And when you're done with it, it is going to look like this. Now, isn't that so much different? And you can see more of those, the defined jeweled portion. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside for a minute, and then I'm gonna go run and get our brooch mold that's in the freezer. Alright, so I'm back right here. This is the one that we froze a few minutes ago. And all I'm gonna do is take one end, or actually two ends, of our mold and invert that, and it should pop right out. There you go. Okay, so the same thing that we did earlier on that one, we're gonna clean out those areas that had spilled over the love handles. Now you can also use recolored fondant or gum paste for these ones, and it will make your painting job a lot easier. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna set these ones aside, and I'm going to show you guys how I paint my brooches. Alright, so right here we have 2 sugar brooch that we've already cleaned up and we're ready to paint this. We have one right here that was made with pre-colored fondant, and I have one that's in plain white. So I'm gonna show you guys both ways on how I do this. Let's do the plain white first. So right here on my little color palette, I have a emerald luster dust. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this to dry paint that center pearl. And I'm not too worried that the other parts are also being dusted, are actually everywhere. The dust, the emerald luster dust is kind of everywhere, because we're going to fix that later on when we do the edging. Now, as you can all see, I'm kind of just concentrating on the areas, the jeweled areas, because the edging later will be done with a golden bronze paint. So we have now completely dusted the entire plain white sugar brooch, and I'm just gonna turn that over to kind of remove the excess. And now, the reason why I'm showing this to you guys is because when I want, this is one of my quickie sugar brooch. I can also paint these ones right here, the ones that we've painted now, with wet paint. But if I'm in a hurry, this is how I do it. So now I don't have to wait for that to dry, and then I can do the edging. And in this case, I'm using a fine tip brush, and I can just go ahead and start painting the edge. And I don't have to wait for my previous painting job to dry. So now can you see how it's a lot more different now, because now we have more definition. Now if you want your brooch mold, sugar brooch, to look like real jewels, then you really have to take time to do this. Now there's one more thing I'm gonna show you guys. See those areas right there? We're not just gonna leave that unpainted. We're also going to paint that, and we're gonna use a different tip brush to do that, a wider tip brush. And for me, one of the things that I do is I kind of carry the gold edging paint to the bottom as well, like so. Now our brooch is half painted and half of it is not done, and I left it that way so that you guys can see the comparison. So this one right here, the first layer of our jeweled area, had edging on it, and this part does not have edging. And also when I painted this in golden bronze, I also made sure that those edges are painted and those ones also are painted. Now I'm gonna show you guys a quicker one. Now in this case, I had used a pre-colored fondant. I know it almost looks like white, but there's actually some blue in it. So in this case, because I had used pre-colored fondant, I can just leave that unpainted, and I can just go ahead and start painting my edge just like so. And again, you have to use a fine tip brush for doing the edging, otherwise you're gonna end up with a very messy job. And like I said earlier, if you want your sugar brooch to look like a real brooch, then you have to take time in painting it. And I'm also gonna paint this spot. Actually, I can use and I'm going to leave the center pearl unpainted. Right, and then I'm gonna come back and finish that off with my see how I am going back and I'm actually finishing that off with and this is really a very meticulous step. Now, I'm also gonna carry that over, that gold edging, golden bronze edging, to the bottom jewel. And I am not just painting these bottom ones, but I'm also making sure that those spots right there are also painted. See the difference? And then you also do those spots. And here we go with our 2 sugar brooches. I had deliberately left half of each of them unpainted so you guys can see the difference. Actually, this other one, we can also paint this spot right here with gold, just like we did with this one. And that's how I paint my sugar brooches. I hope you guys learned something from this. See y'all. Bye-bye.